Bow.
Wake up, babe. Fresh Coinbase hack data of the most important people on Coinbase has been leaked. We're going to look at this and the implications of KYC. This is why cold storage is king, and you must keep your crypto off exchanges if at all possible. And honestly, it is possible. So take the power in your own hands. Get yourself an Arculus cold storage wallet today. 10% off. I got a link down in the description. Take advantage of this channel partner.
Use code base 10.
Code base 10, right?
You
try code base 20 because we actually might have 20% off. And then if that doesn't work, code base 10. That's the goodie. But for the love of God, protect yourself as things get heated up. And also on today's show, I am going to show you the violence that happens cycle over cycle with not only Bitcoin and the massive movements upwards, but also the hyper speculative months that are spent in the altcoin sector and what that ends up doing to the altcoins, especially the top 10. And we're going to talk about it and get some feedback from you guys. But I have my own personal opinion of a token that's likely to lose position out of the top 10. Actually, a few of them come to mind that do actually look like they might lose that top 10 spot, leaving room for others to gain. And this is where we can make those nasty 20x 50x upside potentials. So without a doubt, love and appreciate every single one of you out in the chat. Isaac on the sticks.
Is there always
man.
feeling great, man? We did you more like you did.
Yeah.
But we had a great conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
About the whole crypto market in general.
I just get tired of listening to the people that like they don't believe. I'm here to make you a believer by showing you data, not just some hopium. And you know what? We are way beyond where we've ever been in terms of how crypto is going to be used and why it's going to be used. Like we're entering the moment. AI is coming out. DeFi is being tested on a state level. Bitcoin strategic reserves. We have never been so here as we are right now. So I'm had it with the neckbeards talking about, oh, there's no alt season and maybe I can get a 2x out of this and that'd be good. I'm here to really show you what this market does cycle over cycle, where we're at right now and what to expect. We're going to dive into what the top 10 is likely to look like in a diminished expectation in this cycle. And also we have a very special guest, Chris from Bitcoin IRA, going to be joining us later on in the show. Make sure to click the link in our description. If you don't already have an IRA set up, Bitcoin IRA has an absolutely amazing platform to utilize for us crypto folks that want the tax incentives of an IRA designed for our long-term holds. It is all there for you. So Bitcoin IRA down in the description. Make sure you follow me on X, Twitter, @DruthCrypto. Man, look at this steak. This was 7 pounds of ribeyes right
Dude,
there.
I would go to town.
And Kelly made me some skirt steak for lunch. And then I went home and had some steaks of my own. So you know what? People are trying to say that it's, you save the steak for bull markets. We're in a bull market. I don't know if you noticed, right? But we are in a bull market. So yeah, I'm out there cooking steak. Make sure to follow me though. Give me some love on there. That's a year's wage on a blade, man. I think it was about $100.
Not bad.
$100 for those steaks. But the thing is, you make a wholesome dinner, and then the steaks, the leftover steaks, actually made up about 6. I do steak, spinach, and then some quinoa and rice. And that is like, 3 lunches. You'd be paying about $10 for that same stuff if you went out to eat somewhere. You know what I mean? So it ends up, it's just treating my body well. I love steak. Okay. Yes,
Steak is so good.
Said $100. Do you see? It is what it is. I love steak.
In Vegas, it'll be 1,000.
Oh man, we're gonna be cooking. No, we have our own grill.
We do have our own
We
grill.
have our own grill. So I'm going to send it. Just, your body's a temple. Treat it well. Steak is good for you. More like $10. Yeah. If you're if you're eating out at like what you call it, like restaurants,
Yeah.
that's like $20 or $30. How many kids do I got? I got 4 beautiful children. 4 beautiful children. Jace Drone eating steak right now. What up, Nick? Man, he got me with that name.
Yeah, he
Nick
did.
got me good.
I told you.
I couldn't stop laughing after the show yesterday because I realized you, Nick. Because I've been saying the names fast. Yeah, buddy. Andy S. Kevin Parsons. 2 U's 2. Drew, I know you're a big car guy. Would you sell 5% of your altcoin portfolio now for a bike?
Yes.
I would
Right
never
now.
ride a bike. Never. Because if you're like maybe a dirt bike, but like if you're riding around a motorcycle, you are dependent on other people paying attention to not kill you. And it's getting worse and worse. Like people, I just don't do it.
I'm here for it.
Congrats to Multisig on his bull market baby. Deucey, good to see you again. Crypto Coding. Deucey was in the Discover Investments group chat this morning. We went live. I had a little bit of a interesting morning because we I was taking TJ's place on the main show this morning. He's gonna be back tomorrow. He's just out there doing CEO stuff. Jay Schlongen, what is up? Sufficient enough. Dave Middleton, and of course, this is the Bitcoin way again. She was in there with us in the Discover Investments group Discord this morning.
Indeed.
Wispy, good man. Stevie Crypto. He doesn't trust people that ride motorcycles. What do you say to that, Isaac?
I don't trust people to ride motorcycles. I don't care. That's your opinion, man. It's not going to stop me from riding a 600cc piss missile.
Oh my Lord. I hope, the lessons they come in life, Isaac. I hope you don't have to learn them the rough way, man. Please be careful out there. Now let's take a look at the general market here. We're at a 71 fear and greed index level, 103.1. It's bouncing from like 103 to 103.2 right now. Did snap crash a little bit this morning. Let's have a look on a more zoomed in time frame here. Let's just double click on this bad boy. So this trend line actually is holding up pretty good. This kind of range trend line that we were talking about had been established yesterday. The midpoint coming in there, honestly, it definitely feels like the midpoint's right at around 102.7 and 103. Top end is definitely this 105 spot. This is the resistance level that we got to break out of. Will it come? We shall see. I mean, we are not looking too horrible in terms of this market structure, but we do have to be cognizant. We have those freaking CME gaps. There's one at like 96.
Pull it up, sir.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's a CME gap at like 96 right in this range. And then there's another one at 92. So I am being careful and not like overexposing myself in terms of trading, but I got some skin in the game right now. I think the L Bank trade, how much is the L Bank trade up? Let's see here. I got to pull this up. Just checking in on this for my own personal financial sake. We're only up 10%. I'm gonna keep letting it simmer. Someone say, you sicko. Nick is unbelievable. Or if you're kind of zoomed in on the 5-minute, which I do, it bounced really, really hard off of this downward trend line. So we're going to see if we can cook back on up to this midpoint here. It's like between 102.8 and 103, maybe 103.8, kind of like the center of this current range. And the top end, I got to reemphasize this 105. Going to take some juice to break us up and beyond that for the time being. And the metrics for overall dominance been taking a little bit of a dip. We may as well go and actually just look at the Bitcoin dominance chart while we're looking at this. The interesting thing about this post is that Ethereum's dominance rose by 9.75 or 3%, and alts climbed to 22.35 with an increase of 2%. So that is interesting to see. Let's actually look at the Bitcoin dominance graph as it sits right now on the weekly. 5-minute does nothing for us in terms of understanding this. Bam. All right. What is this? It's like a moaning sea creature.
Oh god.
Getting fellatio. Here's where the Bitcoin dominance sits right now. It is trying to recapture some of this lost ground Bitcoin dominance is. had fallen by a total of 5.3%, and just that tiny little tick has created a just fervor pitch on altcoin season. I mean, alts have been putting up 30-20% gains. My fellow H bar Dano.
Shout out, yay.
Yeah, what a guy. Bitcoin dominance. So look at, one of the strongest alts to Bitcoin is Doge. Look at this. So this is Doge to Bitcoin. Really not that bad, right?
It looks pretty good.
Been through like the major downturn, and then it just absolutely moved to the upside. It's found support on OG shelves created in 2014. A lot of people don't understand how old Doge is. It's 11 years old.
Yeah.
Right. This is a meme coin that's been around for 11 years. So it bouncing and finding support off this OG, major dominance peak. It hit 2014. It also hit these levels and then just absolutely skyrocketed over them in the last bull market of 2021. Doge is one of the most underestimated altcoin pairs out there. So we got this. We got the alts moving up just a bit on the percentage wise. But then you got constant doomers talking about this is the top. They don't ring bells at the top of MicroStrategy. Ooh, giving some warning signals. MicroStrategy is top. The deal is Michael Saylor has known about what he's going to do with this strategy for some time, but now he's explaining it to the rest of the Wall Street. There's going to be a lot of companies that come out and try to do the same thing as Michael Saylor on this time frame. They might actually be a little bit late to the game. I think Cantor Fitzgerald and 21 Strategy is going to be fine because that's like Tether and a lot of big money players. But now Michael Saylor is kind of setting the pace, and it will be interesting to see what the next cycle will be. Will be viewed as if some of these companies get overexposed as Bitcoin hits 150,000, 170,000, maybe even. That's very, very interesting. But let's have a listen to this little clip here.
What are people missing about Bitcoin, and what are they missing about strategy?
This is Michael Saylor.
It is.
His company, Strategy, owns more Bitcoin than any other on the planet. Right now, that's about $50 billion worth. And in the crypto world, that makes him kind of a big deal.
Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor.
Michael.
See the Forbes list. This is what's giving him all the juice. The Forbes list. Adding Saylor to the Forbes list, man. That's honestly kind of scary. But I think Saylor has been so early to this Bitcoin strategy that strategy in and of itself is probably going to become one of the most powerful companies on the planet, if not the most, companies. But there's going to be a lot of companies out there that are trying to mirror this same action when Bitcoin hits the local top, at like 150 to 200, wherever that top ends up being. And that's where, the rollback and the pullback to Bitcoin might actually be pretty violent for the companies that are late to the party and that aren't adopting this early or at the right stages. That's where the chaos theory comes in. So Twitter founder Jack Dorsey came out just highlighting small businesses can become their own bank using Bitcoin. I don't think that businesses are going to be businesses are going to want their funds to go through a third party or a centralized exchange. Just some sort of currently existing infrastructure. I don't think, let's say this. Think about this. Like GameStop's pretty bullish on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Do you think GameStop would go to the level of literally cold storage to hold all their value, their billions of dollars? I mean, they got billions of dollars that's on the sidelines getting ready to be deployed into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But if you're in control of $4 billion, would you self-custody that if you have to have some sort of books for, regulators to look at from a business standpoint? Like, from your opinion, Isaac, because you're a youth.
Yep.
I consider you youth.
Yeah, of course.
Would it be something that maybe GameStop actually does because they're trying to appeal to the youth and be in the cool crowd?
And like, so in the terms of self-custody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they had at least to some degree self-custody, at least a small majority of it. Because if they have to have some mainly on the books and some in their cold storage, I feel like they'd either go like half and half, or they do like a very small, like say 15% of the entire 100% Bitcoin allocation that they have in cold storage. That's kind of where my mind leads that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good nuanced take. I think the biggest thing that we can do is retail, or plebs that aren't massive companies or government agents, except for Isaac is a Fed.
I'm a Fed and I'm an AI agent.
So, outside of Feds, I think that cold storage and being able to hold our own crypto is really the reason why Bitcoin has made it this far. It's the reason why, banks, they're kind of, they're not losing, but they are losing value on their on their commercial real estate holdings, right? And there's a reason for all of this new bailout to happen. And really, when new bailouts come to dig the banks out of the trench that they're in right now, is really where you see things, the banana zone come into play. We were talking about the banana zone last night, or not last night, this morning on the Discover Crypto channel. The banana zone is something that has been lost and forgotten in the minds of altcoin holders. Bitcoin holders aren't really concerned with the banana zone because they see the entire world is being basically sucked up. The entire design of monetary theory, even gold, houses, it's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you got to ask yourself this: is communication online slated to go out? Is commerce online slated to go out? Is any of these aspects of our day-to-day life that has now been put online on its way out? If you think that Bitcoin is a Ponzi or going to zero, you need to ask yourself that hard question, right? And then look at your life and your job and how many things have been, digitized over the past 10, 15 years. And then the understanding that this literally is a humanitarian level shift in how things are being done. That's where the long-term bullishness can be really immovable for Bitcoin, because this is, value being sent online, peer-to-peer transactions, that is unstoppable. So is the expansion of infrastructure, data, and now we have the chaos of AI coming into play. So, and when you do see Chris, Isaac, let me know. You know what I mean? We'll bring him right up. So this is from Kelly Kellum. Great guy. I don't know if y'all know him.
I don't.
BitLab. Oh, God, he makes the best steaks. I make good steaks. He makes great steaks.
And on top of the great steaks, produces great content for crypto.
That's true. That's true.
What a legend.
He just highlighted this. 50 to 60 million people just got Bitcoin and crypto exposure through coin being added to the S&P 500. Now people are getting Bitcoin and crypto exposure, whether they know it or not, via retirement investment accounts.
Bullish.
This is something very, very key. It estimates that 30 to 70 million Americans have retirement funds allocated to the S&P 500 to some degree. It's likely closer to the higher end due to the index's prominence in retirement plans. So coin making its way to the S&P 500. I've said it before, it's a very underestimated addition. And this is where, when we look at the Wall Street and derivatives side, we're sitting here celebrating and be like, whoa, where are we at market cap? We're at $3.3 trillion market cap, right?
Yep.
Gold's at about like 20 plus, maybe $22 trillion market cap. Not to be, downplay. That's a big market cap.
Huge.
But derivatives are like 2 quadrillion, right? So when you think about that, there's a lot of synthetic derivatives and representation of value on Wall Street. And this is where we enter that sketchy phase. I kind of touched on this on the Discover Crypto show this morning, but now that we're playing games with this derivatives monster, it will be interesting to me if, a year from now, 2 years from now, when they actually roll out those Bitcoin strategic reserves and the conversations get really focused, then what happens? Will Wall Street synthesize representations of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Right. That's what comes to my mind. And here's Bitcoin to the S&P 500. This is honestly a graph that you can bid Bitcoin against anything, and it literally goes to these levels.
To zero.
So shout out to Crypto Cody for gifting a membership too. Shout out to you. Quarter crawler picked that up. Very nice. All right. Now we got to keep moving here. Chainlink and JP Morgan. This is news from yesterday. I have some further thoughts on this, though. So what we have is not a failure to communicate, but it's a control that Chainlink has flexed upon over 100 different crypto firms. And now, instead of JP Morgan using XRP or the XRP ledger, they utilized Chainlink to finalize that transaction.
Mhm.
Swift didn't hook up with XRP either. They hooked up with Chainlink.
Yep.
So when I look at these factors, we have to keep in mind the Swift integration with Chainlink goes live in November. That's not even active yet. But Chainlink has basically gotten crypto addicted to CCIP the same way that crack dealers get their customers addicted to crack cocaine. With the first
Fair.
few free, right? You get all this data aggregation, all this lifetime data, at the front, it's damn near nothing or, free to get on. And when they do the actual, there is a switch that's being flipped for Swift, and that's happening in November, but it's a test of, love the crack. It's a test of how the actual Chainlink CCIP works.
Yeah.
And Swift is not going to put all their transactions through, because you got to think about it. Like, we're at maybe 3 to 6% of the world using crypto. It might be a little bit more.
Yeah.
But let's say 1% of those transactions end up being, utilized on Swift for CCIP because it just so happens to be crypto related, right? If 1% of this monster is put onto Chainlink, that action in and of itself brings it to $400. This is what I don't think people quite understand when we're looking at, Chainlink building out a proof of reserves bill within the United States, which a form of this proof of bill will go through.
Yeah.
But when it does, in the United States, the largest financial hub on the planet, that's where things kind of get crazy. That's where, and I think Ripple is kind of pivoted. So now that they have the RLUSD, the stablecoin, and they're going to use XRP for the fees for the time being, but that is subject to change. What do you got?
Me and Kelly were talking about it this morning while you were on the main show, that because he made a post, I think 2 days ago, about Chainlink, and we were talking about how if there's any coin that could flip Ethereum, that it could be Chainlink. Will that happen this cycle? Probably not. But out of the top 20, Chainlink's the only one that has a possibility of flipping Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think Solana has a better chance of flipping Ethereum than Chainlink.
Interesting.
But honestly, I feel like Ethereum's there to stay for this cycle. Why I feel that way about Solana is because a lot of AI infrastructure is finding faster transactional throughput, lower fees, all of those things on Solana.
Yeah.
And Ethereum has stuck to the DeFi side, which it should. It should stick to the DeFi side and RWAs. But Solana has this dark horse aspect to it, where it's being used as a launchpad, and a lot of developers are choosing to use Solana to roll out those AI plays on.
Yeah.
So, that is why Solana, I mean, very may well end up, if it can hold true through this cycle, continue building, and then we continue to see these AI companies and these developers choosing Solana rather than anything else, that's where I could see it happen. What you got?
Yep. And we have a special guest who's just got in the studio now.
Let's bring Chris up. Chris is from Bitcoin IRA. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show again, man. I had you here in the office and on the set earlier before. I did mention Bitcoin IRA and kind of the insane value. Like, I really find that the tax incentives of being able to use IRAs in general, not to mention just for crypto, are very, very strong. I was just talking about kind of market sentiment, but Chris, from your standpoint, we saw Coin get added to the S&P 500, and we're kind of highlighting how much exposure that really gives. Have you seen an increased kind of interest in crypto IRAs since coin got added to? Or are we still kind of at that standoff where people are trying to figure out what coin is on traditional markets? Like, do you think the coin being added to the S&P 500 gives crypto kind of more validity on the IRA side of how people retire?
Yeah, I think it was also good to see you, by the way, Drew.
Yes.
Coming in. So I call this my crypto cave. I'm in Arizona. I'm in the midst of transitioning for residency from California to Arizona. So I have this small 1-bedroom apartment that I'm coming live, and I call it the crypto cave to the blockchain basement. It's good to see you again. And by the way, I love Arizona because you can carry weapons here, and I see a lot of folks like you. And I've been to a couple shooting ranges and out in an outdoor shooting range, having some fun, learning some things. So just good to see you again, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, it's making the move from California to Arizona. That's a big freedom play. You know, and really, like, I am getting my IRA set up through Bitcoin IRA. But I just wanted to I wanted to be able to take advantage of like the tax advantages within an IRA, you know, because and really, like, I know that there's some dark horse altcoins that will have longevity, but mainly I'm focused on just doing the Bitcoin play within it. Can you kind of tell me like what advantages there are to utilizing a Bitcoin IRA in terms of those tax advantages for people? Because I know we just got over tax season. It feels like Bitcoin's literally here to stay. You know, what kind of advantages could people could find by getting involved with the Bitcoin IRA rather than, you know, some other vehicle of holding?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you have the ability to go into a tax sheltered setting. And what that means is you're going to get rewarded by the government for putting money into an IRA. If you put it into a traditional IRA, you're going to, if you say put $7,000 or $8,000, that's going to lower your income for the year by that amount. So now you're maybe in a different tax bracket, or at least the calculation is going to be lowered. If you put it in within that shelter, you're going to be also in a place where capital gains taxes don't exist. And tomorrow, just a little tease, I'm cooking up some alpha for the Discover show. I'm going to unpack a couple of our whales. We have a couple of $50, $75 million clients that have been with us for 3 or 4 years. And it's not just that if you're outside an IRA and say you sell $1 million worth of something, now you're going to have somewhere, let's call it a 15%, a long-term capital gains tax. So you're going to lose and be down to $850,000 from that $1 million liquidation. What that means is not just that tax bill of 150 grand, but also now you have a purchasing power disparity. You've lost the ability to buy $1 million worth of the next coin or next asset you want. You're now sitting with $850,000 of the next coin or next asset. And when you think about, let's say you bought $150,000 additional of XRP or SUI or anything at the levels they were at, say around April 7th.
Yeah.
And where they're at today, you're now that purchasing power has an impact because you don't hold as many units, right?
Well, I mean, that's something to think about. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. It's like you're losing buying power when you're transitioning from one to the next. You know, and really, like, when you talk about Bitcoin whales, that's a lot of money to be holding in an IRA. But I also saw that there's like a secure, like almost like military grade security, but also like a $250 million insurance. Yes. Can you kind of dive into that? Because I think that that's something, especially our crowd, likes to see, is a little bit of insurance backing and also security protocol on the front end to begin with, especially with the Coinbase hack, right? And it wasn't like direct crypto being taken, but we're going to.
By the way, before I jump into our security,
yeah,
it's not interesting that the day that they get added, or they're getting told they're being added to the S&P and replacing Discover, they also have this giant hack that takes place. Like, this is the world that we live in.
Right.
Target on your back, right? So I come out here. This is my probably 1600th podcast appearance. We are well known in the space. We're constantly under attack, just like Coinbase is. I'm sure that you may not. I don't even have a Coinbase account personally, but I get text messages that say, "Hey, we need to update something, or we need to log this in." And there's that little link. And if you're not smart enough to know, don't click that freaking link. Do not click that link. I think your audience is smart enough. No, don't click that link. So So what we built over the years, remember, we were the first to do this. Absolutely nobody. When I walked into the trust custodian from Kentucky, regulated by the state of South Dakota many years ago, this is 2015. They couldn't even pronounce Ethereum. Nonetheless, nor I think they called it like Ethereum or something like that.
I love when people say that.
And they were terrified. They were absolutely terrified of this concept of Bitcoin. So I had to make them feel comfortable to put it in a retirement setting. So over the years, first we worked with our friends at BitGo a long time ago to build the first multi-signature wallet for an IRA setting, because this is all about custody and key management. After that, so you have that piece, right? That's a key piece. But then after that, you have to build what I like to call the Pentagon of custody and Pentagon of protection. And if you've ever seen the Pentagon before, which I'm sure most of us has seen it, it's not only a five-sided shape, but it also has the rings of extra defense. And if you are the one of the guys that are sitting in the White House every day, your office is in the center of the Pentagon. You are the most protected from outside risk. And that was why we designed the Pentagon the way that we did, in case there was ever some kind of external threat, which we have seen with 9/11 is a great example. And so what we built is we built this Pentagon of custody so that your nest egg of crypto is sitting at the center of that Pentagon. And it involves things like AI identity verification, visual verification. You'll actually get on a video like this. You have to turn your head to the left, to the right, say a certain couple of statements. This is the new era and beyond MFA. We also have additional pieces where there's no connection between the two. So if you go to a Coinbase and you put all your information and your crypto on the hot exchange environment, then yeah, somebody could maybe SIM swap you or hack something out of you. And all of a sudden they just drain your account. You're done. There is no connection between what you see when you log into Bitcoin IRA versus what's happening behind the scenes with your wallets. So yes, people, your greatest weakness is yourself in this world today. You're going to get SIM swapped. You're going to have your email hacked. You're going to have people try to impersonate you. And we help hedge against that because we don't allow the connection. So even if they try to break through the doors, and let's say they get through one door or two doors, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I've got the crypto. No, you really don't, because if you want to leave, you're going to have to get on video verification calls, AI identity verification. You have to do all these steps. This is the Pentagon of custody that has to be built to make people feel comfortable. Remember, at the end of the day, we manage almost $15 billion of assets under custody. Right. With a B, not an M, with a B. If I don't take these steps to protect my clients, I'm going to end up in at a place I don't want to be in. Let's just be honest, Drew. That's not the place I want to be in. So that's what we focus on from the security. And I love that your audience respects that, because it's not an easy thing. You have to dedicate time, experience, engineers, all kinds of things to get to this level.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a question that just came in from Warpaint. Shout out to you for being a member for 4 months. So he's retired, and he's asking if he can transfer directly from Fidelity to Bitcoin IRA. Like, well, what does the process look like for that?
First of all, Warpaint, my Broncos will see you Christmas Day.
Oh, shots fired.
I'm just saying, we'll see you on Christmas, baby. I'm very excited. Very excited about that. My Broncos hasn't, my team hasn't played on Christmas in like years. So I'm very, we've done a couple Christmas Eve games. The schedules came out yesterday. So of course I get a little excited. But Warpaint, absolutely. So if you have an IRA at Fidelity, you can transfer a portion or all of it. What you do is you open up an account here, like kind. So I don't know if you have a Roth, a Simple, a Trad, or a SEP, but whatever it is, we open it on our side, and then we will send transfer forms to Fidelity and say, hey, Fidelity, send X dollars over for Warpaint to this account, and then you're able to trade. We have 75 coins. I'm not sure what you're interested over there.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like a pretty easy process. In the security thing, like, just going back to that, like, yeah, we're at like the front end of these strategic reserves being talked about.
Race to reserve is what I call it. It's a race to reserve is what's happening.
Absolutely. And like, we see the attempts on our data right now because people know that we're in crypto. And, me personally, like, I'm on you just said 1,600 shows. I think it's in the multi-thousands that I've done. As we continue to grow in crypto, the fever pitch to take the crypto from us increases. That's why, like, the security protocol, it's only going to get worse. Like, the hacks and the attempts to get the crypto from us is going to get heavier and heavier. So that's why I just wanted to emphasize that for the security aspects of it, because as we continue to be adopted and we are here to stay to the masses, then they're going to realize, wait a minute, this is digital gold, and then you got movies about, what is it, Three Kings?
Yeah.
Like those types of things. And we've seen a lot of attacks against crypto founders and people in crypto. It is kind of
if they don't have one of these, this I live by this. I have two versions. This is my mobile, this is my desktop. And this thing, if you want to get to any of my financial accounts, you have to put this in, you have to put this here, and then there's a code. And I have it for my mobile, it slides right in right there. And I have it for my desktop, it slides in right here. YubiKey, and I'm not a sponsor of them, I'm not an endorser of them. This is, at this day and age, this is one of the most powerful things you can do is get a YubiKey, because it's an external device. Yeah, this is
absolutely.
If you're not doing this, you're in big trouble, because
that's how I started.
Everything else has been proven hackable at this point.
Right. And we wouldn't have made it this far without the ability to self-custody. Like, I really don't think so. The banks would have taken us out a long time ago. You bring up, you have 75 cryptocurrencies available for trade. It goes from Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, Stellar, Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic. But do you have clients asking you more so about, let's say XRP or the others? Like, what are clients interested other than Bitcoin? Have you seen any higher interest in a specific altcoin outside of just Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin and ETH are big piece of our portfolio for sure, because we were Bitcoin IRA for the beginning. And by the way, we're not Bitcoin IRA because we just believe in Bitcoin IRA. We're so OG. It's because we were around when only Bitcoin existed. ETH came next, and so we have a big chunk of ETH. This year, I've seen a lot of interest in Solana. I've seen a lot of interest in Cardano, Sui. We just added several coins to the mix. And I actually wanted to share this announcement that I just shared with Kelly on BitLabs is when we see each other in Vegas in a couple weeks, Drew, I will officially have a staking program live, which is, I think, is the underbelly of the next generation of this financial instrument. So you will be able to earn up to 7% with Polkadot, Solana, Avalanche, Ethereum, and Cardano on our platform. Yes.
Okay. So they don't have to miss out on the staking upside either when they go into that.
So there's a big staking upside. And it's interesting. I'd say that the last 25% of the book is mixed between a lot of things. I kind of accidentally walked into XRP, and I've had some solid holdings for years. And I'm kind of thrilled to see what it's up to. And I'm really thrilled with my Ethereum holdings. I think that any smart crypto player is, I know there's maxis. I know a lot of maxis out there, but there are utilities that are driving a lot of other asset classes inside of this sector that we're in. So what's your favorite lately, by the way, Drew?
Oh man. I mean, the one behind Bitcoin it's Chainlink, Ondo
love my link.
Ondo is up there, Morpho. It's a very deep pick, but honestly, it's got an absolute ton of TVL, and Coinbase kind of chose Morpho to be the lending protocol within the app. And I just feel like Coinbase is going to be a dominant exchange, for the foreseeable future, especially during this cycle. So those are my kind of favorite here. I did see one question. I have two questions for you from the chat here.
Okay.
Someone's asking how they can request new assets to be added, like Caspa. There's a lot of people that like Caspa, but also we'll get to this that's on the screen here from This is the Bitcoin Way. She said, I need more information before choosing the type of IRA to open. Are there any kind of direct resources on the website or someone that she can talk to directly?
Absolutely. That's what makes me so proud about my platform, is that we didn't go full digital. So you don't have to talk to robots. You don't have to talk to chat bots. You don't have to talk to AI. What we have is we have real humans, real crypto is what we call it. Real people, real crypto. So you can call our number, and if you pull up the screen, it's 877-936-7175 and drop it in the chat. If you call right now, I'd let my team know that I'm going to be on the basement today. And these are guys that have been gals as well that have been working with me for 10, 12 years, have helped thousands and thousands of clients open up accounts. And they will be able to figure out what exactly you need to do. If you have 3 ways to fund a new account. You can contribute a new one, but you need to figure out exactly what account works for you. Is it Roth, traditional, SEP, or simple?
Right.
You want to roll over from an old 401k, which there are trillions of dollars of money that is left behind in old 401ks. I like to say this is like when you leave your favorite hoodie behind at your ex-girlfriend's house. You don't want to
forget about it.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. It's your favorite hoodie. It's your 401k. So you don't want to do that. So you want to roll those over. And it's not just 401ks. If you worked for the city or a municipal, you might have a 457, 403b, TSP account from the federal government. If you were a soldier or part of the military, thank you so much. I salute you. Those are all available to roll over into our platform. But call somebody. My guys and gals are waiting. We love to help folks out. This is your retirement savings. This isn't some opening up an exchange or a Bitcoin and buying a little Bitcoin at Coinbase or Kraken or whatever. This is the holy grail of your retirement savings. We take it very seriously, and thereby we have people there to help you support you along the way.
Absolutely.
What was the other question, Drew?
Well, the other question was how someone can request
get new coins.
Yeah,
so,
because I know
absolutely. So when you talk to us, once you open up an account, we're always willing. So we hit 75 in November of last year. We started at 1, right? So we've added 74 coins in the short 10 years we've been doing this.
Right.
A Caspa is it Casper or Caspa?
Caspa. There's 2 coins. Okay. Caspa is what this particular person's asking, but in general,
and that's actually on the short list right now. So there are, and we're always open to. The thing is, we have to fit the asset into the Pentagon of custody. I can't have you on a hot exchange. I can't have a non-OTC trading. There are layers of protection that I have to put in place to protect you as the retirement investor. But we're always willing to look at certain things. There was a big push for the Trump coin earlier this year. We were able to launch it for folks. SUI was another big one that people were asking for. HBAR was another one this year that people are asking for. As long as we get enough folks that are saying, hey, this is what we want, we listen to our clients. The only reason we're as successful as we are is because we listen to our clients. If it was just me, I mean, I probably it's so hard to keep up. I mean, Drew, you guys, it's a lot of homework to keep up with all these new coins and new strategies. It's so much, man.
It takes a lot of restraint too, to not just like yelling, "Ooh, we got a new one." We're at like 36 million tokens total right now. Really, it takes an immense amount of research, and
it's 36
million. Yeah, but most of those are dead, just hits of lock liquidity that are acting as like this a weird inflationary mechanism or a deflationary mechanism for Solana, which is something kind of insane to think about. But yeah, we're bringing up a lot of stuff that I think about for the long term. Like me, when it comes to my retirement plan, even though I am in a season of speculation on altcoins, when it comes time, I'm going to be swapping those altcoins back to Bitcoin, right? Can people do those swaps directly within the platform? Where let's say they're heavy on, Solana, and they reach $500 of Solana, they want to swap that back over to Bitcoin to realize that gain that they just had. What does the process look like within, if those assets are already in Bitcoin IRA? Is it?
It's as simple as click. It's okay. I mean, you're in the platform. You'll click, and when you have your account open, Drew, we could probably do this live, maybe in Vegas or later, where we could just show how to buy something, how to swap something, how to sell something. It's click. It's very simple. This isn't a complicated process. I also saw and I don't mean to shout out questions on my own, but I am always watching the chat on the right hand side here. Colonels mentioned, what's the difference between him and a Vanguard? And I'm guessing him is me, Colonels. I'm not sure if that, or is it Hims, which has been crushing it since its IPO. But the difference between me and Vanguard is we're real crypto. So there are a lot of ETF options out there. And I personally, I had an old guy that worked for me years ago in the sales department that used to say, when it came to ETFs, do you want a life jacket or a life jacket certificate? And that really hit home for me, because if this was back when we had people that were putting precious metals in these spaces or real estate in these spaces. You can get a real house, or you can get a REIT. You can get a real bar of gold, or you can get an ETF of gold. And at the same time, you can get a real piece of Bitcoin or any other crypto, or you can get an ETF. And they're really they're paper proxies at the end of the day. And the real challenge of them is at some point you have to sell out of that ETF. You cannot take distribution from your IRA of that ETF. I can't send you shares of an ETF. Nobody can do that. But I can send you Bitcoin to your private wallet whenever you want as a distribution, or SUI, or OND, or any of the coins that you love that are sitting in our platform. When you hit that age of distribution, you're ready to start taking money out. You don't have to take dirty dollars out. You don't have to liquidate the dollars and then have to transfer it over and then probably buy back into the same asset with the cash. You can just move it smoothly over as an in-kind distribution. That's, to me, the most powerful thing. Also, some of these ETFs, we're early in this game, very early in the game of ETFs. At some point, we're going to see the cracks in the ETF space. We're going to see where ratios 1-to-1 aren't as strong as they used to be, or fees might go just absolutely exponential with these groups, because these are bankers at the end of the day. What they're going to do is they're going to say, man, we got $1 trillion in ETH ETF. Let's just jack up the rates for XYZ. So you might have gotten in for free, but to get out, they're going to nail you for 3, maybe 4 or 5%. So these are the things you have to think about when you're dealing with proxy certificates.
Absolutely. I got a great question from Crypto Billy. He runs Giver's Gain, which is a great community. If you haven't hooked up with them, they're absolutely awesome. He's got a question. His wife's mother died. He has an annuity that needs to be transferred. Wife was the beneficiary. Certain forms are needed, and he was wondering if your team could potentially handle that or help handle that.
Yep, this is what's called an inherited IRA, Crypto Billy. So what you're doing is, well, I'm not sure if her account was in an IRA, but if it was, which likely it's in an annuity, and your wife was a beneficiary of that account. And first and foremost, sorry for the loss. Like, I hope that she lived a very long and fruitful life. But what you have now is you're a beneficiary, so they're going to take that money from that annuity, and they're going to take the segment for your wife, and they're going to put it in an account at their house. And it's probably going to be named as an inherited IRA for the business of the inheritor of the deceased. Most of the time, what you have to do to take your beneficiary status from them is you have to provide a death certificate, and then you have to give your identity. Once it's in your name, we also take inherited accounts. We have inherited Roths, inherited traditionals. It's all, I have one from my grandfather that passed the same day as Kobe Bryant, oddly enough, back in 2020. And so once they're over there, it's the same thing. So your wife will be able to move the funds over, keep it tax deferred if it is tax deferred, which likely is the truth with the annuity, and then roll, and basically you're rolling that over into a crypto IRA setting for an inherited IRA. And then what's very important is that you should check with your tax advisor. I don't know how old the mother was, but at some point, so the way the rules work is, like my grandfather passed, he was 87. So he's in distribution zone at that point. You have to start distributing in his age bracket after 72. So you will have requirements of distribution. So you should check with your tax advisor how much has to be distributed this year. And again, full circle, if you want to distribute in crypto, we can do that for you. We can send you the crypto as a distribution for that requirement later this year, towards the end of the year.
Gotcha. Great questions from the chat here. Now, one thing, there's really people that look at kind of like barriers for getting into, certain financial products. Is there like a minimum that someone has to go in with to be able to utilize this service? Or, kind of give me the minimum requirement if there is one. And then what is the maximum allocation someone can give to their IRA in the course of a year's time frame, if there's a cap on that as well?
So for our platform, we have a minimum contribution of $1,000, and that just makes so that the annual fee makes sense, right? That's just the reality. Almost every bank you have will take about $1,000 contribution. But to max, so obviously if you have a rollover or an old 401k, like we're talking about, the ex-girlfriend's got your sweatshirt, or an IRA already, there's no max to how much you can move over. If you got $1 million, you can move over $1 million. If you're trying to start an account today, it depends on your age. But for 2025, if you're under the age of 50, you can do up to 7,500. If you're over the age of 50, you can do up to 8,000. It's called the catch-up contribution. So you can do both those. And we programmed it so that you can, if that's what you're going to do, you want to open up your traditional or Roth IRA, you can open up online. You will do all the details, takes about 2 or 3 minutes, and then you will link your bank account that you can contribute from. And it could be all done in the same day. You'll talk to a couple of my folks over from the executive department to help out, make sure we got everything lined up. Verify your identity, we'll deposit, and then you're off trading crypto within a matter of a couple days.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, man. This is pretty cool to have you on and explain this. And I really appreciate you partnering up with us, because I have a long-term vision for crypto and Bitcoin. It's worked really, really well, cycle over cycle. Someone like you that's a crypto native, plugging in and getting a product like this available, especially from where I see these things going over the next 10 years, the tax incentives of an IRA is going to be much more powerful than I think people really realize. So absolute pleasure to have you. Are you going to Bitcoin Vegas as well?
Baby, I'm going to come see you at your place, man. I'm going to be live in the basement. We're going to come from the cave in the basement. We're going to be in Vegas together. In fact, I've got a busy week there. I've been booked for Yahoo Finance, the Pomp podcast, and New York Stock Exchange. I became basically the reporter on the street, Chris Klein on the street for all these folks. So I'm very excited to be there. I think I'm going to hang out for the XRP conference that ends right afterwards. I think Bitcoin ends on Thursday. XRP starts Friday, Saturday. So yeah, I'm going to do a week in Vegas. And then I'm going to fly home. And I just bought a beautiful new home in Scottsdale, Arizona that I'm going to move into. So I'm going to be exhausted. But yes, I can't wait to see you. Last thing I noticed here on the date, if you fund your account by tax day 4/15, for your audience, I went to my board of directors and I said, you know what? I love the blockchain basement. I love BitLabs. I love Discover Crypto. They're so welcoming to me. They're one of the best audiences I've ever had. So I was able to extend that special. So you can you can earn up to $1,000 in rewards through June 30th. I'm giving you 45 more days to join us with that same special that nobody else gets. So be sure, if you call in or you sign up, make sure you let people know that you found us from the basement, because we love you guys. Honestly, your audience is amazing. I've been watching the chat over here. I've been called a legend. I've been called a chill guy. You guys are just so much fun. So I went to my board of directors and I said, no, you know what? I want to give this special for a little bit longer for a certain set of people. And in the basement, the BitLabs and the Discover audience are my group that I just love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Hey, thank you very much for hooking our chat up with that. I mean, that's some great incentive right there. And you know what? They call BS when they see it. I appreciated meeting you. And I really, obviously I believe in Bitcoin, but having a vehicle like this is something that my wife, who's one of the best in the business when it comes to taking profits, she's very, very serious about me getting this set up. So I'm very, very glad to have this partnership, and I'm excited to see you out there, man. That's going to be a good time.
I'll see you in a couple weeks, buddy.
Absolutely, man. I'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon, guys.
That guy's awesome, man.
He is. He's great.
Very, very good info. Now, we got some time left. You know what? I have a lot of stuff on this, but the main thing that we need to talk about is something I definitely kind of resonate with that Alex Becker shared last night. It's a message sent out to his 5'2" neckbeard army.
Nice.
Last year wasn't a bull market. It was a weird incest mutant baby cow. This year is the true mass adoption bull. The tech, the utility, the business use case is going full tilt. Not some weird retail suck meme orgy. True big old money DeFi bull. So we have this.
You are banned.
Are you banning me?
No, Steve-O. Bye, Steve-O.
Okay. Now, what we saw last year was not a bull market. Okay. And really, I want to show you what bull markets truly look like. Okay. This is the bull market of the secondary actual blow off top for altcoins in the last bull market. Now, what we look at here is we have to understand something, is that we hit, I believe it was the all-time high. It was just under $3 trillion market cap. Okay.
Correct.
We keep that in mind while I'm talking about this, but Bitcoin hit a $1.2 trillion market cap, 64,000 just about. But it peaked at like 69K on a wick. Ethereum was at $4,600. This was right after Drew was told by my wife, honey, you're selling all the Ethereum. I was like, man, I know it's going to go to 10K, but the Pi cycle top indicator swapped a while ago, and maybe you're right. So I took the profits, $4,500 in Ethereum. But the thing about this to pay attention to is we are currently at a $3.3 trillion market cap. Bitcoin is hovering around this $100,000 level, trying to fight for its new support. After that trade tariff debacle, we punched down to 75K, but now we're right back to business. High cycle top has plenty of room to run, and I do believe that Bitcoin is going to look at $150,000 to $200,000. $200,000 if we're extra lucky, and things go really, really awesome this next year in this cycle. But what we have is Bitcoin dominance. It is Bitcoin show, and at this time of this, $1.2 trillion market cap, the dominance fell down to the 40% level. Now, where I actually feel like Bitcoin's going to land in this cycle is it's going to hold a 50% level because it's got state reserves. It's got all types of things going for it that's going to hoist it up on that floor level and make it stronger than we've ever seen before. And now we have Ethereum. It's got the hardest competition that it's ever seen. We got Solana. We got all like SWI. Chainlink doesn't directly compare in terms of competition, but you got Avalanche. You got all these other things. XRP is number 3 currently. I am of the opinion that this market cap is going to rise from 3.3 to between 6 to 8 trillion dollars at the blow off top, at the velocity we have right now and where things are going. So that means that the entry points on these really, really change up. Now, this market cap for Bitcoin, I expect that to actually be between 3.5 to, if we go to TJ's target in the 200 to 220, maybe to 250, that's a $4.5 trillion market cap. Ethereum, I think Ethereum's upside, we're going to be looking at around a $600 to $800 billion market cap for Ethereum. There's a major power vacuum that happens within these top 10 tokens. Right under that, this is where things start to get crazy. Is number 3 token. If we continue at the rate of expansion that we're on right now, the number 3 token is more than likely going to be at around a $500 to $600 billion market cap, not $100 billion, because a competition has gotten better. This is where the change in dynamics of altcoins really comes into play. Then we have number 4. In the last cycle, it was Solana at a $75 billion market cap. This, this number 4 spot's probably actually more closely going to look like a $200 to $300 billion market cap, maybe even up to 4. But I think the power vacuum within the top 3 is going to be very, very aggressive. And I actually don't think XRP is going to hold that top 3 spot. I don't. I think Solana. I think Solana, and I really feel like Avalanche and Chainlink and SWI are all fighting for their entry points into this top 10. It's going to be a battle to remain number 3. But this is where the context of where we're at right now, I need to emphasize this. This is the moments that you have to look at historically, the fever pitch that comes to altcoins, and understand what that really moves the market to from where we're at right now. Ethereum is at $311 billion market cap. It is almost half of what it was at the peak blow off top. You have XRP coming here at 145, and I actually could see XRP holding a position, within the top 10, but at the lower part of it. And I could see XRP hitting the $300 to $400 billion market cap in a hyper bull case. A bearish case is that it only rises to 200 bill, but still remains in the top 10, and it doesn't really move price, but it keeps this position. BNB, it's probably going to remain in the top 10. Solana, I wouldn't be surprised if Solana moves up positions in the top 10. And I'm not counting stable coins when we're talking about this. Tether and USDC are not part of this equation. Dogecoin, you know what? The ones that have the most work to do to keep this top 10 positioning are Dogecoin and XRP, in my opinion. I think Cardano is going to remain somewhere around the number 8, number 7. Tron, Southeast Asia, but it's going to be overshadowed by the American crypto dominance conversation. That's left to be discovered. But basically what I'm looking at is the entry point to get into the top 10 for crypto market caps for all these other tokens we're speculating on right now. SWI's at a $12 billion market cap. If SWI can hold this position, it's going to be looking at like between 80 to a $180 billion market cap to hold this position. That's what people don't understand. If SWI holds this spot, doesn't even keep ticking up. But let's see, SWI just holds this position. Or Chainlink. We could do the same thing with Chainlink, but I haven't looked at SWI specifically in this manner yet either. So SWI is at a $13 billion market cap as things sit right now. If the market continues to move upwards, I love my Cardano. I hold a bag of Cardano. I just haven't picked on SWI in a bit. So SWI, if it holds this spot, it's at $13 billion market cap right now. Let's go on over and look at what that would do in terms of price. Because in this scenario, I can make it simple. For Chainlink and Cardano, Chainlink would end up being between $100 to $200 a unit. Cardano would end up being $6 to $7 a unit. Okay, from current prices, that's a great movement for a top 10 token. But now, let's pick on SWI for just a little bit of time here. So at the next, course of the next year or into the beginning of 2026, we're going to have about 5 billion tokens circulating of SWI. So there's some unlocks coming. But the market cap, we cook it, and let's say SWI just holds its position, the market rises in aggregate with what we've seen from historical metrics. That's where things get absolutely ridiculous for SWI. You can actually get to a $31 a unit per token rate on SWI. That's why speculating on the top 10, like the aggressive ones within the top 10 to top 20, people are like, oh, I can only get a 2x, or maybe Stellar can go from 36 or 30 cents to 60 cents. That is so bearish when you look at historical metrics of what has already happened in these cycles with how high these tokens went without regulatory clarity, without any of this shit going on. These tokens were able to accomplish these levels. So when you sit back and you really think about it, there is a psyop that's happened. Bitcoin dominance is held longer than we've ever seen before, and people's belief have been sucked out of their body. You guys really need to just take a step back and look at the historical metrics of what these tokens do, because there hasn't been much speculation on altcoins yet. It'll happen again. And with that, even ridiculous things like Hex and Pulse are going to pump. I hate to say, they're going to pump. People that were buying the bottom of Hex and Pulse, they're going to pump. The reason why XRP is on the higher level of my aggravation is only because of how high the market cap already is. I still think XRP is going to rise. It's probably going to hit like the general range for XRP is $4 to $6. I think it's going to be around. They got a lot of money. They're going to have to do a lot of fighting to keep in that top 10. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I know I made you, I just threw up a little saying that too, but this is the reality of the situation. I love and appreciate every single one of you guys out there. Now, as the tide of Bitcoin rises, so shall these altcoins. This morning, we're bouncing real good off this trend line in terms of trading. If you are trading, use our link in the description for LBank, and then also get into the Discover Investments Group Discord and use that LBank user ID to get free access to me and Kelly, direct communication, live in the morning, every single day. And you can ask me pointed questions, one-on-one, about what's going on. I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. If you have counter thoughts, get that LBank user ID. Give me that direct communication in our Discord, and we'll chop it up together here. I love and appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.